Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're tackling a massive headache that literally costs growing organizations millions of dollars: scaling delivery capabilities. We are going to break down the P3 management triad. That's projects, programs, and portfolios, so you can stop just delivering isolated tasks and start driving actual, measurable business success.
So, projects, programs, and portfolios. What is the actual difference? Sounds super basic, right? Well, actually, this fundamental question trips up even the most seasoned executives. As your company matures and scales up, nailing down this distinction isn't just about playing semantics. It's absolutely crucial for making sure your organization is equipped to handle complex strategy and change, rather than just endlessly spinning its wheels.
Here is our game plan for today. First, the P3 management puzzle. Then, defining projects, programs, portfolios. Next up, outputs versus strategic outcomes. After that, debunking common P3 myths. And finally, the pillars of governance. All right, Section 1, the P3 management puzzle, defining the top-down cascade. We're starting at the very top of the organizational food chain with portfolios. Think of a portfolio as a strategic grouping. It's not just a random bucket of related work. It's a collection managed together specifically to hit organizational objectives and really maximize your return on investment. The portfolio manager is essentially the investment engine of the entire company. They're the ones up there deciding which initiatives get the green light, handing out the resources, and making sure every single piece aligns perfectly with the executive board's overarching strategy.
Moving one step down the cascade, we hit programs. Notice the heavy emphasis here on related projects and change management. A program groups these things together to deliver beneficial change and economies of scale that you literally couldn't achieve if you managed them on their own. Now, a program manager's job? It's to stay entirely out of the project-level weeds. They need to keep their eyes glued on delivering strategic outcomes, unblocking roadblocks for their project managers, and dealing with all those complex senior stakeholders.
And finally, right at the base of our cascade, we've got projects. Projects are highly specific. We're talking about a temporary, unique endeavor. It's strictly time-bound with a defined start and end date, a locked-in budget, and a very clear scope. This is where the actual, tangible, planned outputs are created by your dynamic, transient project teams. Okay, let's put them all side by side to really solidify this. If you look at the focus, you'll see a clear shift from delivering a unique product in a project to achieving strategic benefits in a program, all the way up to broad business goals in a portfolio. But time frame? Time frame is your biggest differentiator here. Projects strictly end. Programs, on the other hand, include ongoing activities way beyond the projects themselves. And portfolios, they are entirely ongoing, just continuously adapting to shifting business needs and market forces.
Moving right along to Section 3, outputs versus strategic outcomes.
To really nail down the difference here, let's use a massive power plant as an analogy. The project output is the actual physical construction of that plant. It's the engineering design, installing the turbines, setting up the cooling systems. It's incredibly complex, sure, but the end result is a tangible output. You've built a plant. The program outcome, however, happens later, during operations. It's the commissioning of that plant, managing the transition, and actually assessing how much power is being generated and what your revenue looks like.
So what does this actually mean for the people on the ground? Well, the project manager is deep in the weeds, sweating over the iron triangle of time, cost, and quality just to get that output built. But the program manager? They live in this reality of operational interlinkages and organizational change management. Because let's face it, the operations team might absolutely loathe this new change. The program manager's ultimate goal is benefits realization, which takes serious time and usually happens way outside their direct administrative control.
Which brings us to Section 4, debunking common P3 myths.
We hear this first one all the time, especially in product design spaces. Someone will say, "Hey, I run multiple projects and manage resources across them. This can be called a program." You know what that is? It's a classic straw man argument.
Let's bust this myth right now. Just running a bunch of concurrent projects does not magically birth a program. Even if those projects share the exact same resources or the exact same tech stack, coordinating them is still just multi-project management. As we established a minute ago, a true program must cross over into operations. You literally have to focus on deploying those outputs, managing the messy transition, and actively realizing those strategic benefits.
Okay, here is another incredibly dangerous misconception. People say, we can run a program using a project lifecycle.
You see organizations try to do this a lot, just stretching out their existing project methodologies to try and cover much larger initiatives. Yeah, no way. That is absolutely false. Program life cycles are fundamentally different. They are the highest level of delivery mechanisms in an organization. They require a skill set that is completely comfortable with extreme ambiguity and crazy complexity. Think about it. A program manager has to balance vendors, enterprise PMOs, portfolio managers, business change managers, all of whom have completely different perspectives and interests. You just cannot manage that kind of complexity with a standard project lifecycle.
Then we had myth number 3, what I like to call the talent fallacy. We have star project managers in our company who can be deployed to handle complex projects as we scale up. It assumes that just having individual brilliance on your team is enough to magically manage organizational scaling. Here's the catch with that one. Relying on a few rock stars only gets your organization to level 2 maturity, where individualism completely prevails. To truly scale up, you have to hit level 3, and that means standardization. It means centralized adoption of best practices, usually driven by a joined-up enterprise PMO. Honestly, this painful evolution from level 2 to level 3 can easily take a large organization over a year to achieve. Star power simply isn't enough. You need systemic maturity.
And our final myth, which usually pops up in more traditional organizations. We are already running our business, so we do not require formal portfolio management systems. They're basically assuming that daily operations and portfolios are the exact same thing.
Time for a reality check. Yes, if your business is running, an underlying portfolio exists. But, and this is a huge but, is it actually optimal? Are those investments actually wise? Without a formal system in place, unviable or irrelevant change initiatives will just keep draining your resources long after somebody should have pulled the plug. A robust portfolio management system steps in and harmonizes that massive friction between running the business and changing the business. It totally shifts the executive focus away from basic delivery management and forces everyone to ask the hard question, are we actually doing the right things?
All right, let's bring it all together in Section 5, the pillars of governance. To keep this whole ecosystem from falling apart, you need 4 core pillars of effective governance. First up is direction. Every single thing has to align perfectly with the organizational strategy. Second, sponsorship. You need leaders who are actively in the trenches fighting for your resources. Third is effectiveness, which just means having the right tools, the right processes, and highly trained staff ready to go. And fourth, which honestly might be the hardest one, is disclosure. You need a company culture that is 100% honest about the good news and the bad, where people actively ask for help instead of sweeping risks under the rug. If you literally take only one single thing away from this entire explainer, let it be this exact distinction right here. Portfolio management is entirely about doing the right projects, picking the strategic investments that actually matter. Project and program management is about doing those projects right, executing them with absolute excellence to get the outputs and actually realize those strategic benefits. I'm going to leave you with a question to really chew on as you head back to work today. Take a hard look at your current workload and the initiatives your organization is pushing. Are you truly orchestrating a strategic program that delivers real integrated operational benefits? Or are you just delivering a really big project and crossing your fingers that the benefits will somehow figure themselves out? Understanding that difference is step 1 to actually scaling your success. Thanks so much for joining me for this explainer. Now go take a hard look at your own organization and keep learning.